climate change impacts on women and children in agrarian communities of the dry zone in Sri Lanka. Mr. Shantha Hewage is a senior researcher attached to the Environmental and Water Resources Management Division at HATI. His research interests include the areas under environmental science, food security, and agricultural extension on climate-smart agriculture in Sri Lanka, insights for future inventions. I would now like to cordially invite Mr. Shantha Hewage to present his work.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. The title of our research that we conducted with the collaboration of Sri Lanka is Climate Adaptive Farming Practices and Climate Adaptation of Vulnerable Groups in the Dryzone of Sri Lanka. Actually, we conducted this research over the last 2 years, starting from November 2021 to September 2023. In this presentation and following 2 presentations are to present our key findings of this research, followed by a panel discussion. So in this presentation, we mainly focus on the situation of women and children under the climate change perspectives, then followed by household food security, and the last part is on climate adaptation and climate adaptive farming practices. Since the background of this research was thoroughly discussed in last few speeches, so I can skip the initial part, but I would like to have some attention to that. We know that climate change affects disproportionately on different groups, particularly when we consider about the dry zone of Sri Lanka. Farmers, those who have very limited access to irrigation water, are considered to be the most vulnerable for the climate change impacts. So even within these resource poor farming groups, women and children are more vulnerable, largely due to the less access to land and other resources that needed for the agricultural production, and there are less participation in decision making, as well as the reduced mobility. So we know that adaptation is the key for combating climate change, to overcome the climate change impact, particularly in the agriculture sector. And of course, to have an effective adaptation, that process should address the needs of different groups. So in that sense, we have to identify the adaptation needs of different groups, particularly marginalized groups, as mentioned, women and children in those farming communities. So under this background, the research had 4 main broad objectives. Identify the effects of climate change on marginalized communities, especially on women and children, and understand the different climate adaptive farming practices and self-provisioning coping strategies, both in Jala and Maha seasons. Then identify the extent of implementation of existing agriculture project and programs, in particularly in the study locations. Then finally, reduce policy recommendations to improve the protection of vulnerable communities. So for the information of the participants joining via Zoom, so I have 2 key definitions, particularly for the Maha and Jala seasons. Maha season, the major cropping season, falls during northeast monsoon, starting from September to March in the following year. Maha literally means bigger season. This is the main cropping season that produces the largest food production of the country. Then Jala season is effective during the period from May to August. Then Jala literally means the lesser. Water scarcity is the main issue associated with the Jala season. So as the main data collection tools in our study, we conducted household survey. Over 1,058 farm households, particularly rain-fed and mine-irrigated farm households. We conducted this research study over 4 districts covering 10 divisional secretariat divisions and 9 agrarian service center areas covering 25 ground divisions. We used the stratified random sampling procedure to select the farming households from those 4 districts. So apart from household survey that we conducted in 2 rounds for 2021, 2022 Maha and 2022 Yala cropping seasons, we conducted focus group discussions with the farmer leaders, then women organization members, and of course we conducted key informed interviews with the farming community as well as grassroots level officers, divisional and district level officers, those who are working in the agrarian community, and climate action projects and programs. As mentioned, we use the multi-stage stratified sampling method to draw our sample from 4 districts. Main key findings that age distribution, we observed that 48% of the population comprises individuals in the age group of less than 30 years. So it means that youth and children population contribute to the major part of the population. So actually this information provides guidance for making informed decision and taking measures regarding job creation, particularly for the youth, and as well as for the better education facilities for the children in these climate vulnerable communities. Education attainment, we observe that the majority of the population are having education up to the level of junior secondary education. After grade 11, we observe there's a high dropout rate, both girls and boys. Girls enrollment after the senior secondary education level is much higher than the boys. This implies that education level of this farming community, the females education level is higher than the males education level. However, we observed there's a high disparity in the employment because male employment rate was higher than the female employment rate. We can see it in the next slide, this situation.